today's Quick Tip Tuesday, we are talking about zoom lenses versus prime lenses, kind of the discussion or debate behind the two, which I prefer, and hopefully in all of this, you'll be able to make a decision on what you need. Before we jump into that though, today's episode is brought to you by Epidemic Sound. If you guys are running a YouTube channel or you're looking to start a YouTube channel, then you already know the kind of nightmare that it is to find music for your channel. Good music that you're licensed to actually use. I can remember before Epidemic Sound looking for music and trying to basically use the same song in different ways for multiple it was a nightmare. Make the switch to Epidemic Sound, free trial in the description. Go in there, download a bunch of music, try it out for a month. Have a whole month of downloading music, making videos, posting them online, totally free. Okay, on to zooms versus primes. The debate continues to rage. I made that video about if I could only have one lens, it would be the 24-70, and people went crazy. So today I'm gonna jump into all of these lenses, why I use the lenses that I do for which scenarios, and hopefully that'll help you choose which is best. Because if you're coming to me and just saying, hey, you can only have one, zooms or primes, which would it be? I would choose primes. But there's way more to it than that, so let's break down the discussion at least. The first thing people talk about is that primes have lower apertures. They can go more wide open. So the kind of professional level primes are gonna go down to somewhere around f1.4, even the Canon 50mm 1.2. So really wide open apertures, which means lower depth of fields and better low light performance. Whereas the high-end pro lenses, zooms, are only going down to f2.8 for the most part. I know Canon has that new one, I think it's a 28-70 f2, which is bananas awesome, but f2 is still a full stop above f1.4. So even with the craziest, newest zoom that's out there, primes still beat it in aperture. Next up in the debate is sharpness. In general, primes are sharper lenses. The zooms have come a long way in sharpness. It used to be that the sharpness over here and the sharpness over here, it was a wide gap. These were crazy sharp, whereas the old zooms were just kind of meh. The new zooms are crazy sharp. All of these are wildly sharper than their older counterparts, mainly the Canon counterparts, because all of these are newer Sony lenses, but the older zoom lenses that we kind of all knew of, the old Holy Trinity, the new version is way sharper. But even then, a 24mm prime versus a 24-70 zoom, the prime is still gonna be a little sharper. Next up in the discussion is price, and it's a little misleading because people will say, well, primes are cheaper. But yes, one-on-one, for instance, a 24-70 versus a 35, the 35 is cheaper than the 24-70, but the 24-70 is covering multiple lens range. So the 24-70 in their primes has a 24, a 35, and a 50. So 3 lenses that if you add those 3 up, obviously cost more than the 24-70. So yes, people will say that primes are cheaper than zooms, but not really, just in that one-on-one format. And then the same thing is with weight. People will say primes weigh less. They're lighter weight lenses. I mean, this 55 is very light, but even this 35, much lighter than the 24-70. But if I'm gonna go out for a day of hiking and I need to take a bunch of lenses with me, grabbing this one 24-70 instead of grabbing a 24, a 35, and a 50, that is lighter. So again, one-on-one, yes, primes are lighter than their zoom counterparts, but the zoom covering focal range of primes, you grab them all, and now this is heavier. So basically what I'm saying with all this is that there's trade-off and compromises, right? Over here, yes, individual lenses are cheaper, but if you want the whole range of lenses, you're looking to spend a lot more money than if you were to buy one lens over here. And yes, if you bought the same range, they are heavier than over here, but these primes are sharper, and I think the image quality coming out of a prime lens is far superior to a zoom lens. But zooms, they're so dang handy, and you can get so many different focal lengths in one lens, and with 3 lenses you cover 16 to 200, and over here I have 4 lenses and I'm only going from 55 to 90. So here's how I use all 7 of these lenses, and hopefully that will help you make a decision in which lenses you need or don't need. For my portraits, my engagements, my family shoots, my weddings, everything like that, I'm shooting with my 55mm 1.8, my 35mm 1.4, and my 85mm 1.4. Almost, I would say 98% of that work is shot with these 3 lenses. So why do I have the zooms? Well, it's because the other 2%. This 16-35 I use for those wide establishing shots. Maybe during an engagement session, you get that cool wide shot of a couple, or at a wedding, I wanna shoot a big shot of the venue, or I want a big shot of the ceremony site. That's when I pull out the 16-35. Maybe I'm walking around cocktail hour. I want something really dynamic that I can just zoom, zoom, zoom. I don't have a lot of room to move. 24-70, and then the ceremony time, I bring out the 70-200 so I can zoom in nice and tight on the bride's face, her expression while she's reading her vows, things like that. So that's where these 3 lenses come in on a wedding day. But honestly, I just don't use them that much. I'm really focused on these 3 lenses for all weddings. Engagements, portraits, most of my work. If you were to come to me and say, I would like you to take my photo, chances are it's gonna be the 55 or the 85. Oh, the 90 macro over here is pretty much ring shots and things like that. I don't use this lens very much at all, but it really is a great lens. And it's a funny thing about lenses like this, or zooms in general for my photography, is while I don't use them much, I do still really feel like I need them. So all of these lenses go with me to every shoot, so that if I'm in a scenario where I need a certain lens or a certain look or a certain ability, for instance, sometimes people say, well, you could just zoom with your feet over here. I could take an 85 and I could just get closer, and it's the same as a 200. It's not, but also sometimes you can't move your feet. Sometimes you're here and you can't get any closer, but you really want that tighter shot. You really want to fill the frame with your subject. Boom, 70-200. Sometimes I'm in a super confined area and the 35 just isn't wide enough, or even if I had a 24, that still wouldn't be wide enough. Boom, 16-35. So while 98% of my work is shot with these 3 lenses, all of the lenses have a place and a time where I do need them to make my images. But the main reason that I love these 3 lenses over here is it's video. I love filming with my prime lenses, but in most cases, I'm in a run and gun situation, whether I'm making these vlog videos for you guys, or whether Morgan and I are traveling somewhere, and things like the 16-35, 24-70, and 70-200 are much easier and more convenient to film on than throwing my primes on, and as soon as something changes, I have to go, wait, hold on, take off a lens, put on another lens. Okay, now I'm ready for it. Whereas over here, I can go from 24 to rip 70 like that. So especially in run and gun situations, the zooms really are super handy. Even in a photography situation, sometimes you're in a spot where you know you're only gonna have a few seconds to get the shot, and you also know you want a wide, a mid, and a tight. And in that case, you could have something like a 24-70, shoot quick, and you have all of those images in the matter of a few seconds. Whereas if you tried to take a 24mm, shoot, change the lens to a 50, shoot, change the lens to an 85, and shoot, no, you wouldn't get it. You'd have missed the shot, and with the zooms, you got the shot. So while they might not be as sharp and crispy as the prime lenses, they might not have as low of a depth of field as the prime lenses, there's definitely a time and place where zoom lenses are the best that there is. And there's a time and place when prime lenses are the best there is, and that's why the debate in general is a little silly. All of these lenses do different things. They're all just tools. They're like different size wrenches. And I'm the mechanic trying to put the car together. And depending on which part of the car I'm building, I'm gonna reach for a different wrench. Now for me and the cars that I build, these 3 lenses make most of the car, but there's certain parts that I just can't do without these zoom lenses or without this macro lens. So primes versus zooms, which is best? Primes, but also zooms. The real answer is it depends on what you're shooting, on which tool you need to reach for in that instance. While I shoot 98% of my work on primes, I know plenty of other very successful photographers that shoot 98% of their work on zooms. For me though, it's a pretty solid rule that primes are for my photography and zooms are for my videography. Even though I use zooms in my photography and I use primes in my videography, for the most part, in general, primes are photography and zooms are videography. It's just how it ends up working out for me and my work. I hope that's at least helped you understand the debate that people have with it. When you hear someone saying primes are the best thing there is, just understand primes can't do everything. And when you hear people say zooms are the best there is, they can't do everything. There's a time and place for both of these things, and you just gotta figure out which is best for you. I hope this video has helped you figure out, or at least understand, all these tools, so you understand maybe which one you're missing in your kit right now. Now that you're looking at your lenses that you have, you go, which wrench do I need next? Hopefully this helped with that. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think about this kind of breakdown of primes versus zooms, and maybe which is your favorite. Okay, I'll see you guys very soon. Adios. Oh, there's an update on my drone. An update on my drone coming very, guess in the comments below what you think the update on my drone is. I'll let you know in the next video. Okay, try hard, take chances.